Hey, Slater Crusaders, welcome back to the show. Coming up next segment, we're going to talk to one of our finest historians. We'll do that in a few minutes. But first, yesterday, we got to talk to Alan Dershowitz, which is pretty cool. Among other things, he told the story of a Yale med school professor, Brandy Lee, who has diagnosed Alan Dershowitz with a mental illness for supporting Trump, which is wildly inappropriate. This woman, clearly a sufferer of Trump derangement syndrome, edited a book called The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. 37 psychiatrists and mental health experts assess a president. You can't assess the mental health of a person without having met the person. But she said the Trump presidency is a state of emergency as our survival as a species may be at stake. Yale med school professor. Now, this is how she assessed Dershowitz. So she said, so here's the background. Alan Dershowitz was accused of being close to Jeffrey Epstein and therefore everything that comes with that. In his defense, he said in an interview, among other things, he said, I have a perfect sex life. Now, not something I need to ever hear from Alan Dershowitz, but that was the line, I have a perfect sex life. So she says, wait a second. Perfect sex life? Trump on his phone call with Zelensky, or he referred to the phone call with Zelensky as perfect. Perfect sex life, perfect phone call. I'm on to something. So here's her super non-biased professional opinion. Alan Dershowitz employing the odd use of perfect might be dismissed as ordinary influence in most contexts. However, given the severity and spread of shared psychosis among just about all of Donald Trump's followers, a different scenario is more likely. Which scenario? That he has Dershowitz has wholly taken on Trump's symptoms by contagion. So Alan Dershowitz is experiencing shared psychosis because he used the word perfect. That's from a Yale med school professor. Now, I share this story because, again, it's amazing to me that even, it shouldn't be amazing, it's interesting that even our betters, you know what's interesting? Not that our betters fall victim to confirmation bias, but that we don't think they could. Right, that we don't think that, like Yale med school professor, she's perfect in every way and always right, and never would fall victim to confirmation bias, right? Like we forget that even otherwise very smart and capable people also let their political biases take over. I mean, this woman, she's freaking out. She thinks the survival of our species is at stake because of Donald Trump. Like, what are you doing? We just did a segment on how, because of what Trump did, Iran may crumble. The evil, oppressive Iranian regime may crumble because of him. But still, the survival of our species is at stake because of Trump. What is wrong with this person? But that's how she's all in her head, right? Her political biases have taken over. But just because you're high achieving in one area of life, for instance, a professor at Yale, does not mean that you are an expert or even literate at any other aspect of life, or that you're immune from becoming a political hack. The specific bias here is called the halo effect. So this is where we think that if someone's good at one thing, we assume they're good at something else, if not everything else. So if someone's a good doctor, and it might be a great doctor, she might be a great doctor, but we assume that that great doctor is also a really good dad. But there's not necessarily any correlation at all. If someone's really nice, then we also assume that they're really smart or whatever, right? The halo effect. And that's rarely the case.